Thank you both. What's happening in catering is fascinating. Situations like this pandemic are always a catalyst for change, where creativity blooms and innovation follows. That applies to all of our services, from catering to engineering, from the mailroom to space planning. Here with a review of some of the technology now available to help with the return to the office is the CEO of workplace technology providers Freespace. Please welcome Raj Krishnamurthy.
Thank you very much, Martin, for that kind introduction. My name is Raj Krishnamurthy. As Martin has introduced me, I'm the CEO of Freespace, and today I'm here to talk to you about using technology for safe return to the workplace and beyond. To start with, who is Freespace? Freespace are pioneers in workplace performance solution. We were incorporated in 2015, and since then we have been using technology to drive workplace performance through the years. And post COVID, obviously, this has become a center point or a central topic for many organizations. But before COVID and after COVID, our focus has pretty much been the same. Our solutions help businesses improve their portfolio optimization, improve their portfolio performance. You can use data to match the demand of office space with the capacity that you have across the globe, and make sure that you have the right type of spaces. We can use technology to the next level, where using the data, you can design better workplaces, understand exactly which kind of spaces people prefer and which they don't. The third big area for us is around employee engagement. And this is all about making employees participate in the change when you change aspects of your workplace, and therefore ensuring that they get the best out of it. At the end of the day, that's what we all want, which is for talent to feel that they are being given the best opportunities to be successful. And the fourth area that we focus on is around smart infrastructure, which is essentially using data and connectors to make the infrastructure smarter so that it can respond much better to people's changing needs. So as we emerge out of the lockdown, the big questions that are emerging from different stakeholders is, depending on the stakeholder, you're going to have various types of questions coming through. Employees are asking the questions: when should I come to work, and will I have a socially distanced, clean space near my colleagues? Very loaded question, a lot of aspects out there. Real estate managers are saying, do we have the right amount of real estate to support hybrid working, this new way that people want to work? Hybrid working itself means different things to different people. The facilities team, on the other hand, is saying, okay, if your demand is going to be only 10% to start with, or 20%, how can I tailor the service so that I can deliver to the expected occupancy demand? And obviously, there are a lot of implications, especially in the low occupancy levels. And obviously, the HR and the workplace manager, who's more interested in productivity and delivering the best for the employees, is thinking longer term in terms of what design of and mix of space types and layout and things like that do I need to support this new way of working. So we've tried over the course of the last few months, especially post-pandemic, we've innovated a lot in terms of new solutions. We've used the solutions and strengths that we had in the past, and we believe we've come up with the most comprehensive set of answers for clients. And what we are trying to present, what I'll try to share with this, is snippets of those solutions that can help answer the questions. Now, it's very difficult to paint a picture as to what a typical client would need, because yes, even though the objective is the same, that people want to bring employees back to the workplace, as much as the strategy demands. Different companies have adopted different strategies, as we know. The variation of how that happens can be dramatically different. So for a company that has a operation which involves a large help desk based offering, a support offering, for example, in companies are some of our clients in India, the shift management strategy becomes very important, very, very specific. There are in some other places, parking is important. So importance of parking gets talked about much more. This I'm talking in terms of additions on all those basic requirements for the workplace, hygiene, social distancing, all that. So implementation of these solutions are different across different geographies, and therefore you need to be mindful of that and have a solution that is consciously can be crafted to address these needs. But what I would like to share with you is those common needs that everybody has and how technology has been used, and give you some snippets on how that can be deployed to achieve that ends. So broadly speaking, the core area that people want to talk about is depending on who your stakeholder is, whether it's the office user, whether it's the FM team, the experience of the HR manager, the corporate real estate team, they all want to go through this evolution of first making sure that give people the safety and the assurance when they come into work, ensure they're complying and making sure that you're able to trace how people are using the space and track how people are using the space without being overtly kind of tracking individuals. How do you kind of achieve both of that? And that's very important. That takes care of the return and the team that is involved in the return of employees. And then the next step comes along as to how you then take that information that you're getting as to how people are using the space, and how do you make them shift their behavior to different ways of using it. And that's where the rebalancing approach comes into place, how space can be rebalanced to help people kind of achieve the best from that space. And then as the data builds, as the analytics and the intelligence build, you start thinking of reinvesting in the space to rejuvenate the space, to kind of get it to perform the best that you want from what that space is meant to do for your employees. And at that point of time, you can also look at rationalization, you can look at improving the experience, and so on and so forth. Now, there are several aspects to this thing. Like I said, I'm just going to throw up some common ideas, common kind of expectations from clients for solutions, and how we have addressed those requirements. So thinking around social distancing and how to address social distancing, algorithms have been put together that allows you to get optimal space allocation for a particular design of a space. So this shows, for example, you define the social distancing and the algorithms will calculate what is the optimal layout. To supplement that, you have technologies like we have a platform called Spot, which is essentially a smart QR code that allows people to check into a space, to scan a space and see whether it's been cleaned, all kinds of automation that emanates from that. So a very simple platform, low cost, as you can imagine. QR codes are incredibly popular now, and this becomes a way of engaging people and bringing them back into a safe working environment. Allocating spaces becomes very important. Users want simplicity, there is no doubt about it, but you need to have control to make sure that spaces can be marked available or not available, as the case might be. A simple app that we have pulled together is what makes a difference. It's very simple to use, but obviously under the bonnet, it's got a lot of complexity. But this allows you to plan the day into work. Users can choose when they want to come in. They set their preferences. You set the rules for allocation, though. You set the rules when the spaces are allocated to who, and so on and so forth. At the same time, users can choose from the spaces that are available. And Freespace will ensure that the people will get the best spaces that's available that's for them. And then when they come in, you have the assurance using the Spot platform that I mentioned, where you can check in using the unique QR code. There is traceability as a result of that. Very accurate. We are not dependent on GPS that may not work indoors, for example, but very accurate scanning and confirmation that person is there, and a lot of automation around it, and including the cleaning automation or occupancy automation, as the case might be. One of the key aspects around why people will want to come into work is around collaboration. So we have thought long and hard about this thing, and this is where I think businesses are really thinking of what next. How do you ensure it's not only about return to the immediate return to the workplace, but why would people come in? People would come in when their colleagues are coming in, because that's an opportunity for you to meet people face to face. So knowing when your colleagues are coming in becomes very important. And that's what the app has got the functionality, where on a particular day that you're planning to come in, you can see who else is planning to come in and which office they are coming into. But again, you have to be careful here. You can't be seen as somebody who's snooping around and seeing everybody's calendars. That's not the point. You are allowed to see only those colleagues that have given you permission to do so. And that comes as inbuilt solution in the app, which allows you to choose those circle of friends that you want to keep informed. And that inner circle collaboration is what the app enables. So you can already see how tech can not only give you some insights about the space allocation for you, but also the colleagues interaction. And that's where the inner circle and the collaboration aspects comes together quite effectively. And then teams. This is all about group people forming teams, and then teams planning to come in together, and how to manage multiple teams, and so on and so forth. So the app goes into increasing amounts of detail in terms of how that is managed. Now on the back end, the benefit of having app work to tell you all these information about when people want to come in is that you have the ability to see how many people are coming in, when they are coming in, how many people are checking in, where they are planning to sit, or where the system allocates them to sit, to make sure that the social distance as well as the space is used optimally. And all that means that you have the control, and you have the ability to lock down spaces, for example, or release more spaces if more people are coming, and gradually bring people back into the workplace. And there's a lot of information here, but again, this gives you that snippet of how you can give people the opportunity to choose their time, but allow have the control based on the space that's available to allocate that space and manage that activity over a given time. Now, obviously, all this results in fantastic data. And the data can come from the app where people are planning the day to come in. But data can also come from the activities they do when they come into work. Say, for example, you ask them to check in, they scan the tag and they check in. Now, the challenge is that when COVID subsides and when people start using spaces more freely, the expectation that people will interact with the space should not be there, because as people, if you go back to pre-COVID days, anything that you ask people to do, they're not likely to pursue that in the long run. So you ask people to check in. Restaurants ask people to check in using the NHS app, and people do that now because they are concerned about the spread of the Delta variant and whatever else is happening today. But when that subsides, people are going to be not compliant with that because they probably feel that it's not needed anymore. So in that instance, if you continue to want to get data about how people are using the space, you need to use other ways of getting that. And that's where Freespace actually began with that logic that you shouldn't need intervention of people in order to generate data about how people are using the space. And that's where the anonymous sensors that Freespace provide had already done a lot of work for some clients before COVID, and people are using that to effectively make strategic business decisions on real estate. This image here shows you some of the work that was done pre-COVID, much before COVID, on data that is presented and available from sensors, anonymous sensors that don't know who is sitting where, but are able to detect presence. And based on the presence, is able to tell you how the space is being used. That data is incredibly valuable. And that data can be used to make your future decisions. So this is about people using spaces, helping people to use the space effectively, but as their compliance kind of goes down, actually seeing how the space is being used. That fundamentally can help you decide where you need to go, because now people are comfortable using the space in a flexible manner. This now adds the next kind of depth of knowledge. Sensors are multi-type of sensors, many different types of sensors. This is made by the OEMs of the sensors, so we know exactly what they do, and we can control that. And what we've done is to suggest different types of sensors for different applications. So whether it's individual spaces like desks, people sitting at desks or tables, or people sitting in meeting rooms, and then a different type of sensor that detects how many people are using the room, for example, or people just walking across corridors or doors or doorways and or washrooms for that matter. For each of these different types of sensors that can give you different types of information, all feeding into the same analytics backend, which gives you that rich data set that I shared with you before. Again, a lot of discussion around the fact that these sensors are completely privacy proofed, where they don't take any personal information. These are not camera sensors. These don't have any visual cameras. They have thermal imaging capability, PIR, motion detection. So anonymity is built into the design, and that gives that extra assurance for people when these solutions are deployed. Now, all that is information for the FM team, but how do you give people information to navigate the space themselves? And this is where the digital signage solution comes to play. This is about digitizing the physical spaces into an electronic form and providing that into a very easy to use interface for people to navigate with. So the solution can be a simple static image, static screen on the wall, but changing continuously as the occupancy changes, with some rules and regulations around how those occupancy are shown. So, for example, somebody gets up from a desk, you won't release the space, but somebody who leaves the room, you will release the space so that the next person can use it. But also you could have interactive signage like it's shown on the right hand side, where people can navigate to different floors and you can see what the occupancy is, just simply allowing that extra level of mobility in the offices that people can use the space most effectively. And that in itself reduces the total demand on each of the space, because the space gets used effectively and therefore you can maximize the use of the space. But not only that, also enabling searches. So searching for a particular room, for example, and then when you find something, to allow you to navigate to that space as well. So to tell you exactly from where you're standing, how to get to the place that you want to get to. Very, very easy to use, very comfortable to navigate the space, simply enabling people to use the space better, and therefore the space gets used better. Therefore, you need less of the space to actually implement your for the same number of people coming in. Now, all that, the sensing solution, the reservation solutions, all that are great for the users of the location. Analytics is great for the decision makers on the design or the future of the capacity of the place. What about the FM teams? And here again, if you think about it, initial occupancy, 10%, 15%, 20% occupancy even. If you have a floor plate like one of these, one of our customers here, nearly 200, 300 people on a floor. If there's 10% of people coming in, which 10% does the cleaner clean? They have to clean all the spaces at the end of the day if they don't know any better. This is where I think occupancy-based solutions might make a big difference. And that's what is happening today. We are able to use sensors, the app usage data, and provide that to the cleaning team so that they can pinpoint that spaces which have to be much better cleaned at the next level, to the next level, and then give a general clean for the other spaces. Plus, now come to the right hand side, using technology, a handheld device that interacts with a spot tag. The spot tag is what is stuck at the location. Sensors indicate the occupancy. When somebody leaves a room, the message of the room being vacated goes to this handheld device that the cleaner has. They go to the room, they clean the room, they scan the spot tag which is stuck at the room, immediately releasing the room saying that now it is clean. They close the door, and then the sensors are activated. The next first time somebody enters the room, the sensors trigger again saying the room is occupied, and the whole cycle continues again. As you can see, how this system put together can make a big difference in how efficient the cleaners are, and therefore manage the same space with less number of staff or give a better level of service. It's not about only staff cost reduction, but it's about achieving the higher service level with the same cost base, and that's what the solution can do for you. So again, looking at these dynamic ways of managing space is going to become critical in the way how space is managed in the future. And then obviously with increasing emphasis on the quality of the space that's provided to people, increasing emphasis on how the air quality, the carbon dioxide content, temperature, humidity can make a massive difference on infection capability or infection potential and the spread of infection potential. Environmental monitoring is going to be critical in the coming days. And again, here, sensing with a lot of analytics and trending as well as alerting can make a big difference. And there's a lot of work being done out here, including the sensing capability, but also logging that information to presenting to various stakeholders, enabling them to intelligently be informed about any specific kind of challenges that are happening is something that we have done quite a bit, and will be increasingly important. I just wanted to flash this very quickly. Is just talking about the kind of clients that we have that are leading the way, deploying our solutions, and leading the way in this whole area of getting people back into work. And there is a lot of experience across the field already in terms of the past few months that people have been doing. And that's pretty much it. So I think that wraps up what I would like to share. And as a business, we have come a long way. When we went into the pandemic, it was hell was breaking loose. Everything, all the projects were getting shut down. But obviously, people have come back and realized that space is going to be a very important asset in the business's portfolio, and it's not going to go away. Everybody is not going to go into a work from home permanently mode. There is going to be a lot of emphasis on the right type of space for the right type of activity. And space will become a critical asset in retention of people, because at the end of the day, people want to work with others. People want productive environments to deliver the best. And with the right level of home working and working from the office, businesses can achieve much more than having everybody interacting only digitally. So with that, I'll close the discussion, and happy for any Q&As following this. Thank you.